It's Monday, and we know by now what that means. Let's get to it. Hi, Bryan from Airflow Music here. Welcome back to another video. This is day 27 of our Go Practice Daily series. Hope you're having a great day today. As I said, it is Monday when this video comes out, so that means it's time to skip to a new set. We've been playing set 4 this past week, and now we're going to move into set 5, which is, once again, slightly different. So, if you've been following along this, you know by now that we've gradually been increasing the intervals that we're working a stability on, and then similarly working the motion using those intervals as a template as well. And so, of course, we're going to continue with that. So for this set, rather than bridging the gap up a minor third as we were with the minor sounding melodic pattern last week in set 4, now we're just on to playing minor thirds. Simply the interval and repeating those. So the pattern, which you'll see on screen now for exercise 1, is going to be very familiar. It works exactly the same way as they all have. We're just directly playing minor thirds now. So other than that, everything we're dealing with is the same. So we might just as well get into it. Just to recap these quickly, as I do most every time, we're playing this exercise at 60 beats a minute. I'm focusing on playing in time, so I'm tapping my foot and subdividing the beat. I'm breath starting the first note of each phrase, and then on the 1 bar rest in between each phrase, I'm attempting to breathe in time. Out through my nose for 2 beats, in through my nose for 2 beats. It's a nose breath for me because I'm playing this long setting, and I know that most of you are building up to doing so as well, if you're not all the way there already. So if you're not playing it long setting, that's fine. Reset on the bar's rest, but please try and breathe in time, stay in time, and get back with us on the downbeat. Okay? Other than that, nothing too different. Oh, there is one different thing, that's right. In this one, now we've got minor thirds, we've got a lot more opportunities to use alternate fingerings. So we stop using the valves and we get into kind of the slow version of what are spuriously called lip slurs, flexibilities, those kind of things. That's what we're going to deal with here. This is going to be different to set 3. In set 3, exercise 1, I would play the note with the regular fingering first, and then on the second pair, play it with the alternate fingering. We're not doing that here. We're going to go straight for the alternate fingering because we're familiar enough, I think, if you've played along with all or many of these by now, you're familiar enough with the expanding series pattern to know where the next note is going to be. So the alternate fingering shouldn't throw you off too badly. Okay? That's my theory anyway. If I'm wrong, please do comment below and tell me. Okay? But other than that, so whenever alternate fingerings are marked, they apply to that entire phrase in exercise 1. It's bracketed on the PDF, but just to make that clear. Okay, anyway. That's definitely it now, so let's get into exercise 1. Okay, so that was exercise 1. Now, as we know, we've been playing something very similar to this now. We're pretty much into our 5th week. Well, it's our 5th set, so yes. So we should be fairly familiar on the whole with how this works. And so, therefore, this went fairly smoothly for me. A couple of things air out, as they often do, but generally, particularly for a first time out, I felt pretty good about that. How did you find it? How are we finding the larger intervals, particularly in the higher register? Just make sure to deal with those by remembering to get a good breath, remembering to keep that chest up, engage that support, and so we don't have to blow too hard for those notes. We can kind of float them on top of the air column. Okay? Any other questions or concerns about that? Of course, leave them down below. Anyway, with that, let's get into exercise 2. Exercise 2 in set 5, we're changing up a little bit. We're changing the rhythm again. We're moving on from triplets now, and we're going to move up to semiquavers or 16th notes. And so we're, again, playing the minor thirds, same interval as we were in exercise 1 the entire time. These are moving a little more swiftly now, though. So once again, we're dealing with the same thing with the alternate fingerings. We're also dealing with the same articulations we've been dealing with before. So there's 3 bars of 16th notes followed by a whole note. And so we're going to slur the first bar, tongue the second bar. Then the third bar is 2 beats each, slurring and tonguing. Now the tempo I've set for this to start out with is 72 beats a minute. So these aren't dreadfully fast 16th notes to either slur or tongue. But depending where you're at, if you find this is a little beyond you, do say so and I'll do a slower version. But this, I think, is probably a good tempo to start these at, particularly having played exercise 1 and gotten somewhat familiar with those movements. Okay? So that's what we're going to get into. What else do I need to tell you? Other than that, it's the same kind of routine. We've talked about the articulation pattern. Once again, this isn't a long setting, so on the 2 bars rest at the end of each phrase, I'm taking the mouthpiece off my lips, breathing, getting set and going again. And once again, the alternate fingerings are in play. So on this occasion, if there's an alternate fingering marked on the first note of a line, that's the same fingering you use for the whole line. Okay? I think that should be fairly clear, and it's noted on the PDF. Anyway, let's get into exercise 2. Oh, let's get a better version of the last line. Okay, so that was exercise 2. Now, I had an interesting time with that. It was, I think, I probably, in any case, whether it's requested or not, will do a slower version of this tomorrow. Because I just felt a little uncontrolled getting that going. I think a day going slow might be helpful, and then we can bring it back up to that tempo and hopefully find the evenness. It was the rhythm that was bothering me. I felt a little bit hurried, I felt a little rushed, particularly on the slurs actually, as opposed to the tonguing, which I was a little surprised about. But there we go. That's how that worked out for me. So, how did you find this? You in agreement? Do we need to go a little slower? Let me know down below, and we'll see, and we'll do that tomorrow. And so, anything else with this new set? Anything you particularly like or dislike? Anything that isn't clear, either on the PDF? I didn't say, but I should always say that, of course, the exercise is available as a free downloadable PDF from the Airflow Music online store, and the link is down in the description box below, as always. Okay? Other than that, I don't think there's too much else to say for this one, and because of the explanations and the slightly longer version, because it's a little slower, of exercise 2, I'm going to close this one here so the video doesn't get too long. We're going to be way over 20 minutes today. So we'll keep this for tomorrow. Like I say, any questions or concerns, I'd love to hear them. And until I see you tomorrow, the usual YouTube-y type stuff applies. If you've enjoyed this video and the exercise, please do hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do that too. It'd be great to have you with us. And otherwise, until I see you in the next one, which will be tomorrow, you know what to do. Go practice.